This planting is really the first larger scale planting that I'm trying in the muck field. Muck, for those of you who don't know, means histosols, organic material-based soils, meaning that there's more organic material in this soil than not. Believe it or not, the actual test was almost 60% organic matter. It's actually not that hard to believe when you see it. This is a drained wetland. It was drained 120 years ago with these surface ditches. And so we really only have 24, 30 inches to water table, depth to water table. So lower down, the soil can get hydric, although when it's draining well, it's a really incredibly wonderful, productive soil. It's been very challenging to understand how to establish perennials on this. Most advice is don't do it, but if you look over there, nature doesn't really care about that advice. That's all a patch of muck soil as well. So you know it can happen. You don't have to listen to anyone other than these red maples, the willows, actually honeysuckle is doing quite well down there. Anyway, so it's not impossible. And after surveying the surrounding areas, the closest food-bearing plant that I found down to the muck, almost in the muck, was definitely elderberries and then hazelnuts, so Corylus americana. So for several years, I've been growing out hazelnuts in the nursery, and I was able to, I sell them for the nursery, but also don't sell all of them because I keep some of them back for my own plantings. And so in a day, I'm able to plant these 7-8 foot tall, beautiful hazelnuts. And so just a little bit about the backstory of this planting. Last year in the spring, the year before that, this field was in rye, like that field is now. So I seeded rye in the fall previous to the year before. So it's actually really easy. Even if you have a field of weeds, you can just till it and seed rye in the fall, and then it comes up and the rye basically takes over everything. So it's a good way to get control of things. And then I terminated the rye and seeded in Sudex, which is Sudan hybrid, sorghum Sudan hybrid. Very fast growing. Mowed it when it was about knee height. That encourages root growth. Got a few cuttings out of it that I mowed in place. And so I have this huge amount of beautiful organic material. And then I ripped the rows with a plow that I took the mold boards off. So it just ripped these nice rows. Seeded annual and perennial nitrogen fixers right into the row before I did anything. So beans, amorpha, senna, and a few other things. Different life cycles. So I seeded those right into the row. Then I planted the elderberries. So there's 2 elderberries. The basic pattern is this. It's hard to see, unfortunately, but you've got hazel, an elderberry, hybrid willow, elderberry, hazel. So the willow is going to be the tallest, the elderberries are going to be medium, and the hazelnut will be between the elderberry and the willow eventually. That's the goal. That's what these varieties do. So I would have planted a little bit more densely, but it's a huge field, and I only have so much plant material. This went through quite a bit of plant material. So only 2 rows in this field. That way I can still cut the ditches and bring that material in for mulch. The next step after all this planting is done is I have a big hay rake that I'm borrowing from a friend, and I'm going to rake this material to this side, this material to this side, this over to here and that over there. So each of these tree rows is going to get the material from either side, and then this will be bare, and then this will be seeded with a cover crop. Or I could actually grow a row of crop, inter-row crop, like an annual down the center, which I may do because we actually want to grow maybe a commercial crop of okra or peppers this year. So anyway, that's the story on this field. It's pretty exciting. There are, I think 70 something of these beautiful big hazelnuts. I'm really curious to see how they do. There's really nothing to compare this to. I have no idea how they'll do on the muck. I think they'll do okay, but if they don't, they don't. Then the elders will come in, and then I'll plant something else here. Also in the seed mix where I put the nitrogen fixers, I also sort of hedged my bets and put in a bunch of other things just to see what worked, because I have extra seed. I put in Northern Hardy Pecan, which is a good one for slightly moisture conditions. I put in some Sparrow Black Walnut seed. I put in, there was some Siberian peach seed, some different kinds of pear, a little bit of everything. So worst case scenario, that either is eaten by rodents and I lost it, or it grows and then it doesn't do well and then I cut it down as mulch for the tree row. Or we may find that the hazelnuts really don't do well. They're languishing, but some of the other plants really pop up. And so in like totally experimental plantings, I like to hedge my bets and just put in a little bit of diversity. It's really, if you have the seed, it's not a huge loss if it doesn't work. Anyway, that's the first iteration here. These are actually, they don't look like much in the video when I'm far away, but they're actually really nice willow cuttings. They're gonna explode. Mia Bina. So I'll do some updates once the hazels really leaf out, and we'll see how everything starts growing.